So JHS have just dropped a bunch of different amp packs that model some of the really rare and unique and sometimes kind of strange amps from Josh's personal collection. And some of these you might be familiar with if you watch the JHS show and you follow what they do online. Now there's about 450 different models, so I'm not going to be able to show all of them, but I have picked out some that sound really good to me. And I just want to show you how they sound and the kind of things that you can do with them as well. Now I'm using Tonex today as my amp modeler, but you can also use these with the Line 6 Helix and the Kemper Profiler as well. So let's start with Josh's favourite amps, because that one really intrigued me when I saw it. And this has actually been out for a couple of years already, but it's new to me, and it actually has one of my favourite sounding amp models in this pack. So we'll start with the 93 Blues Deluxe, and legend has it, and it also says on the website, that a lot of the early JHS pedals were designed using this amp, so it's a little piece of history, which is kind of cool. I am going to add a little bit of reverb in Tonex just to give it a little bit of space. I really like how this amp sounds. It sounds really boxy. It sounds like it's in the room with me. It doesn't sound like what you might think an amp model sounds like, where it can sound a little bit artificial. It's really responsive to we're playing dynamics and the volume knob as well, which is quite interesting. It doesn't just get quieter, it cleans up in the way that a normal amp would. Now a lot of these amps are being modelled at different gain levels as well. So we've got anything from clean all the way up to high gain. And you can adjust that in the amp itself as well. So here's the clean Blues Deluxe. And if I just turn up the gain on the amp, it gets us into that overdrive kind of crunchy territory. But I can set the gain back to normal and actually select a more distorted capture of the amp. Pretty interesting. So there's a lot of versatility within the packs themselves, because there's a lot of different versions of the same amp. So that one's cool, it sounds really nice, but here's my absolute favorite, which is a Marshall JCM 800 on the highest gain setting that they've captured. But again, it's really, really responsive. So here's my guitar with the volume set quite low. And it has that really, really wooden, blocky sound that makes me think of Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan. Now, if I turn my guitar up, the amp just responds completely differently. Really, really meaty, really, really authentically Marshall sounding. I absolutely love Strat with the net pickup into a Marshall. It's one of my favorite sounds. So I think I'm going to do something fun with this. It's my favorite amp sound from Josh's favorite amps. So I'm going to play my favorite riff to play through this. I think it's going to sound really, really cool. Next up, we've got the Friends of JHS amp pack, and this one's really interesting to me because it's a mixture of that weird, quirky side of JHS that I think we all know, along with some really heartfelt and sweet things in there as well about the people that they've met along the way. So I think it really captures a lot of the essence of JHS, and I really enjoy the sounds from this one. So the one that really stood out to me is this one. It's called Cliff's Cat, and it's a Bad Cat Hot Cat 15 that not only sounds really punchy, and sounds really, really good and full, but it's actually one of Josh's friends that passed away. And I think that's really, really interesting, and something that I hadn't actually thought about before playing this is not only a really good way of getting amps into the hands of the people that might not necessarily be able to access them, but also it's a way of archiving more sentimental gear and the stories behind them as well. I think that's really interesting. It adds quite a human element to what is just code in a computer. I think it makes a really interesting case for modeling software. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, there's this amp, which is the Roadster, and this comes from a 2017 April Fool's Day prank video where they had an amp that was also a coffee roaster. Now that's it clean, really punchy, really full, really loud. Here's the max gain capture that they did. It sounds really, really good. I actually think I'm going to use this in something. And if it can make coffee as well, that'd be great. This next pack is called Solid State Sucks, and again it's based on another JHS video. And of course these are much worse than Solid State because they're digitized captures of them. Ew. But despite that, they somehow still manage to sound good and have plenty of character as well. So this one is a DoD grunge, which is actually used in the video. I really like it. It sounds really, really aggressive. And you can feel when you're playing it, the problem that a lot of people have with solid state amps is that they sometimes sound quite compressed and quite flat. This does feel like that. It feels completely compressed, completely flat. And that's the character that it's going after, and it's great. I really, really enjoy just that sound. Cool. Again, we've got different captures of the amp as well, so different flavors. So here's the clean one. Still pretty warm, but if I change the settings on the amp and drop the gain by quite a bit, so yeah, not only have we got the different captures of the amp and those different levels, but we've got a lot of room to move within those levels as well, which is pretty cool. A lot of versatility from these different packs. Now, next up, we've got quite a famous amp, quite revered by a lot of players, despite it being solid state. A lot of famous people use it and have used it to write a lot of famous songs. So this is the Roland JC120, which is, I really like it. I really like how it sounds. I really like what it does. Now, one of the main things about it is the built-in chorus. That isn't captured on these amps. I don't think there's a way to be able to do that with the effect and still make it something that's playable. However, we can add an effect in Tonex or whatever you're using, and I really recommend using this with some chorus to get some very familiar guitar tones. So next up we've got the Princeton Pack, which is really lovely sounding. It sounds very full, very rich, and it actually sounds very expensive as well. That's the only way that I can describe it. Again, really responsive to your playing dynamics and the settings that you put on your guitar. Maybe don't turn it down so much. So I'm using the 68 Twin, and again we've got a lot of different captures of that model. And what's cool about this one is, you might remember when I said earlier, this has been captured with a overdrive pedal as well. It's been captured with the Klon, which is very rare and very expensive, I understand. So here's the clean, and here's it with the Klon. Clean, Klon. Sounds expensive. It made me a better player. Now, being from England and having an offset guitar and living in the north, there's a very specific guitar tone that I heard straight away when I tried out this amp, and I think if I add a couple of effects, I can demonstrate it pretty well. There's another Fender amp pack in here as well called the Tweed Collection, which is based on the vintage Tweed amps. And they all sound really lovely. They sound great, very full, very bluesy, great for rock. There is one in here that sounds absolutely massive that is perfect for a hard rock, I would say Joe Bonamassa-esque tone that stands way above the others for me. Huge. So those are the ones that I really wanted to showcase, the ones that really stood out to me and the styles of music that I like to play. But here's a quick fire of some other ones from some different packs as well. We've got the Milkman Loud Is More Good, which is actually free, so you can just try that out now. There's the Catalog Collection that has some of the older, what were entry-level, cheaper amps back in the day. Really great for a lo-fi, gritty sort of sound. Now, if you want to pick up a pack, they're $19 on JHS's website, or you can get the whole bundle, the 450 odd different models, for $99 as one package. Also, if you want to check out Tonex, which is the software that I'm using, I've linked to where you can find that in the description down below. Just be aware, you can only load 20 models into the free version of Tonex, and that doesn't mean that you can load 20 and then delete one and then load in another one. It's a lifetime thing. You can only ever load in 20. So if you want to use all of these, you'll have to use Tonex Max, which is what I'm using. If you do check it out, please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really keen to hear what everyone else thinks as well. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.